Good afternoon, students. We are in unit number 2. So unit number 2 is with respect to embedded networks. So last class we have seen some basics like introduction, like when you connect two controllers, the way how which you are going to communicate, okay, how you are going to share the data. With respect to embedded system, it is only sharing of data, okay. So we have seen there are two types. One is called serial and another one is parallel. The major drawback in parallel communication is it requires more number of lines. Say for if you say 8-bit, you require 8 lines. So physical 8 lines is required. So when there is more number of interconnection, there will be more number of cables required. So that is not possible. So that is why we go for serial communication. Okay. So in this unit, all the types of protocols which we are going to see are all serial type. And see, for first let us see RS-232. It is a very basic, and I think nowadays we doesn't use this, but we cannot say it is an absolute, because in some application we are still using this RS-232 protocol. Then CAN bus. So please note, for this unit there is only 1, 2, 3, 4 16 mark question is possible. Okay, only 4 questions is there. From the 4 question only they will ask. So first one is they will ask about explain RS-232, RS-422 and RS-485. So they can ask you to write like compare this 3 or explain about 82. Okay, then comes CAN bus, controller area network protocol, and then comes serial peripheral interface, that we call it as SPI. Then integrated circuits, we call it as I2C. And now in all microcontrollers, in all PIC microcontrollers, you have this person called I2C. So this is the 4 possible 16 mark question, and I think this time we will have offline test. So current paper, I think you will write offline test, so you will have 2 marks and 16 mark questions. Again we are coming back to our own pattern. Okay, so next last one is in this topic is need for drivers. Okay, so since we have seen some basics yesterday, now let us go to serial communication directly. So the conclusion is from the last classes, we go only for serial communication between 2 controllers. Okay, when you have a controller plus a supporting IC like memory device or any other supporting, like what you might have studied in last semester in MUP, like 8255, 8279, all that thing. If you are connecting to a microcontroller, then there you will go for parallel communication. That is for me and my subordinate, I will go with parallel. And if I want to communicate with another microcontroller in an embedded system, then we will go for serial communication. The best example I would like to say is your automobile. Okay, in automobile there is a main embedded system, and this main embedded system is a main program or the main controller. From that controller there will be so many subdivisions in, like wiper control, like cruise control, like accelerator control, brake system, all it will have separate controller, and that controller will be interconnected to the main controller. So that interconnection will be always serial. Okay, I repeat, from a main microcontroller to all the subordinate controllers, communication will be only in serial because distance will be more. Let us assume that main controller is placed in dashboard. So dashboard, you know, dashboard, if you see there is a main controller, then accelerator unit will be closer to your engine, brake system will be closer to your wheels, and fuel level or fuel indicator, or what is the level of fuel present in your tank, that controller will be closer to the tank. So between these fellows you can have only serial communication, we will not go for parallel. Okay, and for a serial communication, the thing is data is sent one by one. First you will send a data, then next data, then next data you will send. That is called for serial communication. So you, best example again I say is shooting a target. If you have a bow and arrow, you have to take each arrow and then you have to place it and then you have to fire. So you cannot do like how they show in cinema and all, 2-3 arrows cannot be used. So one by one we will try to throw our arrows. So like that data will be sent from one system to another system like one by one. So that is called serial communication. Then the exchange of data in an embedded system is governed by set of rules known as communication protocol. So 2 more question they will ask, what is communication protocol? So how we are going to send, that is called communication protocol. Whether 1 packet at a time, 2 packet at a time, what is the packet size, all that thing will be explained. So wherever I say protocol, you don't want to get confused. It is nothing but it is saying the rules of that particular method, or that rules followed for sending the data. Then the important thing which you have to know is in serial 4-wire serial bus. So for communication between two, maximum of 4 wires is required, but it is only maximum. 4 is not, we cannot say mandatory. In some case we will have only 2, in some case we will have even 1, and some case we will have all 4. So yesterday I have told you in our previous class, that is in serial communication there is synchronous and asynchronous. The only difference between a synchronous and asynchronous, what I told, in case of synchronous you will have a clock, and synchronous will be used only if the 2 persons are operating in the same speed. Okay, so you can imagine the main controller inside your car will work at a very faster speed, whereas you use a controller just to measure the quantity of petrol in the tank, and that controller will not work at very fast as compared to the main controller. So in that case I cannot go for synchronous communication. So where I can go synchronous is if both the fellow can operate at the same speed, then only I will go for synchronous. If I go for synchronous, then I require clock. Okay, so that clock you can see here there is 4 things. First one is master out, slave in, master in, slave out, serial clock, then save select. See, slave is nothing but other than your main controller, all other controller present are called as slave. Okay, so the controller which is placed in the dashboard of the car is called as master controller, and all other each individual controller, one controller will be there for brake control, brake and all. Nowadays we call it as ABS braking. Okay, anti-locking braking system, which means if you are driving a car at a speed of around 200 kilometers and if you suddenly apply a brake, what happens is in our previous case it will try to hold the wheel. So instead of stopping the car starts to skid. Okay, so when car starts to skid, you will lose the entire control. Even then it will go and eat the object. So what they do now is, I am going to operate the same braking system in a pulsating manner. I will just lock, release, lock, release, lock, release, and so that the speed will come down at a faster rate and there is no chance for sliding. Okay, so there I need a controller to do all this job, but that controller will take care of only that particular braking alone. So that controller I call it as slave. Now the slave will communicate with the master if the condition go worst, or if there is any condition where main controller has to take some other action, like see if it is braking, it is unable to brake, but simultaneously the person who is driving the car may keep the leg on the accelerator also, or it may be kept at the higher gear. If the gear has to be brought down, then only you can put the brake at the faster rate. Then what? This slave will communicate with the master, and the master will take the action that even though you press acceleration unit, your accelerator will not work. For example, if you want, now in Innova latest Krista model, if you put an handbrake and then if you try to drive, even if you press the accelerator, the engine will not run. So they have kept some interlocking. So it will check whether your handbrake is there. If the handbrake is there, that is if you are engaged the handbrake, then obviously even if you go and press your accelerator also, it will not give the signal to the engine. That is why I have told nowadays there is no mechanical part at all in a car. Everything is electronics. Only you think when you press the pedal, pressing of the pedal is alone the mechanical. From there itself it gets the signal, and the signal is given to the main controller, and main controller takes all the action. So why I am saying this is, so there is a communication required between master to slave and slave to master. In some case only from master to slave, in some case only slave to master. So in that you will select the line. In some case you require these 2 lines, in some case either 1 line is more than sufficient, and when you go for synchronous you require serial clock. And if there are more number of controller, yes, in case nowadays if you take an BMW or Audi or any other high-end car, you will have more than around 200 controllers inside a car. I am not talking about sensor, controller itself. See, controller itself, there will be a 200 controllers, and this 200 controllers will be controlled by a master controller, and that master controller we call it as embedded of that particular car. Okay, so when you take now the pioneer person in embedded system are Volkswagen. Okay, so in even some other car brands also, only Volkswagen supply the embedded system. So that is why I am repeatedly saying there is a great future. When you take this, when you take the line as embedded system, there is a very good opportunity for you. Okay, so if there is more number of slaves, then slaves, to select the slave I will have pin. So with that wires I will able to select what slave I want to communicate. So I conclude for a serial communication only this 4 possibility, and all 4 is not mandatory at all time. So depending upon whether synchronous or asynchronous, this fellow will not be there if it is asynchronous. If more than one controllers are used, then you will go for slave, and this too I think will be there in for all. Master out, slave in, which means master is communicating to slave, master in, slave out, which is nothing but slave is communicating with the master. Okay, we call it as MOSI, MISO. Then what are the various protocols available under serial? The first type of protocol is RS-232. Then comes your USB. I think you all have pen drive. So when you insert a pen drive, the data is sent from the system in a serial way to your pen drive. So that is USB. Then come RS-422. Then CAN, controller area network protocol. Then microwave, and we doesn't study microwave in our syllabus. Okay, microwave is nothing but your telephone signals. So I think you all have mobile phone. So from the tower, data is being sent serially to your mobile, so that we call it as microwave. Okay, then RS-485 and then SPI. So for our syllabus we have I2C, SPI, RS-485, CAN, RS-422 and RS-232. Okay, all this we will see in this unit. So let us start with the first one, RS-232 communication. So this was the first type of serial communication started, and even nowadays you use, even in colleges, when you want to connect 30 system in a lab. Let us assume PSS lab, our power system simulation lab. In power system simulation lab you will connect 30 system, where this RS-232 itself is more than sufficient. Okay, it doesn't go for higher end communication and all. So RS-232 stands by which 2 serial devices communicate. So you can communicate between the 2 devices. Connection must be not longer than 50 feet. That is what I told. In a lab you have 50 systems, so that 50 systems can be connected, because all that 50 system will be within the range of 50 feet. Then transmission voltage. So here when you say mark or 0, mark is nothing but 1, 0 is 0, mark is nothing but 1. So when in analog, minus 15 is equal to 0 in case of digital, and plus 15 is equal to 1 in decimal. Okay, in a wire I cannot give a 1 volt and all, 1 volt will die. So here, so digital 1, here we will give plus 15. So whenever you are sending a data, when you see the voltage across the cable which you are connecting, you will see 15 volts. Whenever you give minus 15, it is 0. Okay, it is designed around transmission of character of 7 bit of length. So the bit length which is nothing but, when you send serially, if you say start and then start sending the bit, you can send 7 bit and then you have to put a stop, and then only you can again start. So maximum length is 7 bit length. So nowadays this is all is outdated, because we are in 64 bit, so that cannot be done in RS-232. Then one important aspect of RS-232 is that is an asynchronous, because here we doesn't use clock, so we connect any system with operating at a various speed. Okay, when you even come to our lab, we have a server will run at a very faster speed. It is connected to the client, and all the client, like in a college we will not buy all the system at a time. We might bought 30 system, then 20 system, then 10 system, so configuration will vary. So obviously I cannot go for synchronous, so there I will only go for RS-232 protocol. A synchronous communication is an important because of its asynchronous. If no data needs to be sent, the connection is idle and no additional CPU overhead is required for an ideal serial line. All this is case in case of asynchronous. Then I have told just a repetition, RS-232 is a little non-initiative at first. So logical 1 is represented by minus 15 and logical 0 is represented by 15. Why you change this polarity? Why 1 is minus 15 and 0 is plus 15? Kindly listen, this is very interesting why they kept minus 15. Because see, now we are sitting inside a room and room have microwave signal. Do you accept? Because you have mobile. So when you have mobile, that signals are there in the room. So that signal will have some amount of voltage level. So if you keep a wire, that will automatically catch this signal. So rather real data, noise will be considered as 1. So what I can do is, so just interchange. For 1 I have put on minus 15. So now only if I send the data, voltage will be in minus 15. So otherwise it will be in some positive value. So that positive value can be taken as 0. So noise is totally avoided. Even noise is there, you can use this. So I repeat, because of the noise present in the room. I think one more example is in a lab, when you connect a probe, and if that probe is not being kept at any particular place of taking reading, you can see a sine wave. And sometimes we say even that is a graph. Okay, that is not graph, that is just what to say, it is noise present in that particular room. Okay, so in the room if you have noise, obviously that noise will be picked up and that is shown in your CRO probe. So that noise only I am saying. So how to isolate noise from data? No problem. Just whenever you send data, send it in minus value. Whenever you are not sending, let it be in positive value. Okay, so that is what here. So that is why minus 15 is given to 1 and 15 is given to 0. Then RS-230 communication depends a set of timing speed at which both the pieces of the hardware communicate. So you need to set the speed. So you will set the speed as which is the lower one, you set that speed, and in that speed you will do this. To do this we have called a start bit and a stop bit. Start bit, if I send a bit called start bit, then the receiving fellow knows that the data is going to come. Again if he sees the stop bit, he will conclude that the data is being totally received. So therefore I don't want to wait and see whether any data is coming. So sending one character, how to send a character? So every time a character is sent, the same communication occurs. First you have to send the start bit, then 7-bit data, then stop bit. The communication depends on the fact that both the devices are sampling the bits at the same rate. Then comes the start bit is logically 0 sent to the line, tells the other device to start sampling. So I know I have told minus 15, 0, 15. So if noise is there, then it will be in the positive value. So I am bringing that value to 0, such that I am saying that now I am going to start. Then we will send the data in negative and zeros in positive. Then stop bit is a logical one of minus 15. So if I send to the maximum limit of minus 15 voltage, then automatically it is understood that it is a stop bit. Okay. So this how it will be there. So you can see here, this case is called idle. When I keep the line at minus 15, then which means that now you are in idle, which means I am not sending any data in the line. Then what I told, you give a plus 15. So if I give plus 15 on my line, then the person who is going to receive will automatically identify that I am going to start. Since once I have seen this, then for this consequent 7-bit, what is coming is data. So here see, it is a digital data of 10111010. So this is nothing but a data. Okay. Then once I have sent all the data, then again I will bring my line to minus 15, so that now it is understood that data transfer is over. So this is how it is a very basic. This was the first developed RS-232. So this was the logic they did. Whenever you want to start the communication, bring the line from minus 15 to plus 15. Take it as a first point. So whenever you want to communicate, you have to bring the line from minus 15 to plus 15. Then the receiving fellow will understand that start bit is announced. Once it is done, then the next 7 bits will be a data. So bit can either be 1 or 0. So digitally, if you want to send, for example, if you want to send 8, then 1 1 1 1 4 1 if you send, that is 8, followed by if you 0 if you put, it is 80. In reverse fashion if you put, it is 08. Then again bring it to minus 15 and make it in minus 15 itself, then it will identify it is stop bit. So whenever you keep it in minus 15, then it is understood that it is in stop. And whenever you send data also, the data will be considered as 1 only if it is in minus 15. If it goes to plus 15, then it will be understood as 0. Then most settings are read in the following form: bit per second, number of data bits, parity, number of stop bits. Then came some more additional things, which is nothing but having 2 stop bit or 3 stop bit. Similarly, bit rate per second. I think the maximum bit rate that can be sent through this type of RS-232 cable is only 9600. So 9600 bits per second I can send. So that can be the maximum speed of serial communication between when two systems are connected by RS-232. So that is what I told is been written in the slide. Common out of box with 9600. So that is the maximum. Okay. Then RS-232 hardware samples the line multiple times during the single bit transmission. It is a sample not to have same voltage and framing error occurs. All this I have told. Framing error should only occur if one device is sending faster than the other device is set to receive. Initially we have set this is the speed, and if you suddenly increase the speed, then obviously the receiving fellow will send an error saying that I am unable to capture. See, for example, you are sitting in a room. I have given a small cut in that particular room, that we will call it as window. So let us assume very small. So from that window you can see the rest of the world, but to certain level. If that window is big, you can see more, and if the window is less, the frame is less. So if you are initially set the frame, and then if you try to increase, then automatically error will say that is framing error. I am unable to receive the number of bytes which you are sending. Okay, that will be sent by the receiving fellow. So now you can see here, this is the diagram. So you have a computer. I have a male jack there. Male jack is nothing but you will have like string of pins. In that you will insert a female jack. Okay, this is, I think you might have seen your laptop also, or when you come to college you can see this. When you connect your overhead projector, overhead projector is there in our college. So when you connect this overhead projector, that is nothing but LCD, the data from your system to the LCD will be sent via RS-232 cable only. So this is that cable, and that cable here we have shown an example of connecting to modem, but you can connect it to your LCD projector also. So this is data terminal equipment and data circuit terminating equipment. So this is DCE. So your LCD is a DCD and DTE is from your laptop or desktop. Okay. So this was first developed by Electronic Industry Association, which is now called as IEA. So first RS-232 was developed in 1969. So far a communication between DTE to DCE. So what and all will be present is, and the latest version of RS-232 was developed in 1991, and whenever I upgrade, I will give a serial number for that. So the serial number is EIA232E. That is nothing but a serial number saying what is the version. Okay, in 1991 it was there. So how the data is sent? Data terminal equipment you will have DTE, then RS-232 you will connect it to data terminal equipment like modem. Then from there you will have telephone line. Telephone line will run for so many kilometers. Then at the receiving end I will have modem. So I think this you can visualize even today. So if you go for Airtel broadband, what they will do? Airtel broadband, they will put a line. So once that line enter your house, then you will have this DTE. From the DTE you will have a cable, RS-232 cable, that will be connected direct to your system. Even this DTE, now modem and all, you have even wireless communication plus wire communication, and that wire communication you use RS-232. Then this is at the far end. Okay, so this how a DTE and DCE is combined and to form a communication when you go for RS-232. The basic RS-232 is maximum data rate, that is nowadays it is 19,200. So initially it was 9,600. Now maximum of 19,200 bits per second you can send. Then maximum cable length between the two system which is working in RS-232 is only 50 feet. The maximum capacitance or foot, that is maximum capacitance is nothing but noise we are comparing, okay, that is 50 picofarad, and the maximum voltage plus or minus is 25. So initially they started with 15 and nowadays they go for plus 25 to minus 25. Even there are minus 12 logic also. So somewhere you use minus 12, somewhere you use minus 15, and somewhere you use even minus 25. So that is the various variations available in RS-232. Now let us see the pin. So this how it will be there. It will start from 1. So first line will have till 13, then from 14 to 25. All the pins are not used, okay. So you will use only transmit and receive. Pin number 9 and pin number 18 only we will use. Then this is ground. So this ground and your system ground will be same, okay. So normal communication. When you want to go for some higher, you go for some handshaking signals where you say I have sent, have you received, then clear, then send. All that is there from the pin number 2 to pin number 6, okay. So these are the pins, and then I repeat, the pin which we use usually are pin number 7, pin number 9 and pin number 18, okay. Remaining we will not use, okay. Similarly, when you go for 9 pin configuration, there are two type of configuration. One is 25 pin configuration, another one is 9 pin configuration. In 9 pin configuration, you will go for this ground, then you go for receive data and transmit data, and again remaining is there, that is optional. So that can be used when you want to have some intercommunication between the two, like if you require more security, then we will use all that thing. So that is additional things, but the main thing which is required is a ground, a transmit and a receive. And this is how the connector, when you take the connector from the left side, you have to start counting, that is the pin which has more number, okay. You have one which is shorter numbers and one is more number. So from this you have to start like 1 2 3 4 13, and then again you have to start from here 14. Similarly for 9 pin also, from the left you have to start 1 2 3 4 5, then you will have 6 7 8 9. So these are the two types. So DB25 is one type, another DB9. DB25 will have 25 pins, DB9 will have 9 pins. So the pin, so pin number 2 and pin number 3. Pin number 2 is for receive data, pin number 3 is for transmit data, and pin number 5 is for ground. This is what I have told. These are the basic. Just if you want to connect it and use it, then this 3 pin is more than sufficient. That is pin number 2, pin number 3 and pin number 5. Remaining is not required, but it is not that you are not supposed to use that remaining. I will use when I am using with some communication, okay. And this how you have to connect. So let us see, this is one 9 pin and one more 9 pin will be there. One will be on the sending side, another one will be receiving side. So the thing where you have to connect, transmit line should be connected to the receiving line of the next person, and the receiving line of your should be connected to transmit. So that is why, so if this is transmitting, it will come and it will go to receiving of this next one, and this fellow is transmitting, the data will come as a receiving to this, connect the ground. So this is very simple way of communicating. So no need to go for any complication when you go for RS-232. It is fully duplex. So there is no like off duplex and all what we have seen last class. It is fully duplex, so you can have two-way communication simultaneously. So both the person can send and receive data, okay. RS-232 specification denotes usage of 25 cables where each pin has a specific usage. However, most devices never need to use all of the pin, so the cable requirement for specific device may vary. Many common serial devices use 8 pin serial connectors. We doesn't go for 25 pin because more number of pins wastage, that's all. Two different connectors are associated with the two major types of hardware, that is DTE and DCE, computer terminal equipment. You can see computer terminal equipment, so equipment on your computer. data terminal equipment, which is nothing but modem. So obviously it has to start from your computer and then it has to end on modem. So between this only you will use RS-232. Even nowadays when you go with the broadband connection from your modem to your laptop, if you are not using Wi-Fi, okay, that you have to be very clear. If you are not using Wi-Fi, you are using wired. So why you want to go for wired is if the distance is short, or if you want some faster speed. Even Wi-Fi will be slow compared to when you go for wired communication. So between this computer and a modem you will have RS-232, and the computer you call it as DTE and the modem you call it as DCE. Okay. For ease of use, a computer will transmit on pin 2 and receive on pin 3 and vice versa. Modem will transmit on pin 3 and receive on pin 2. All this thing you have to know. Speed limitation we have already discussed. It is associated with some particular speed limit beyond which you cannot go. However, serial communication between devices also has its own speed barrier. RS-232 was designed with understanding that the analog world is far from present. Digital is fast, analog is slow. So RS-232 is using analog because you are specifying the upper voltage and lower voltage. So this type is not purely digital. It is analog digital we can call it. It is combination of analog and digitals. So but in real case what happens is, if I send any particular pulse like structure in a wired or wireless, they get disturbed. That is, noise get added, the room noise will get added. So when the room noise get added, wave shaping will be there. I think you all know what is THD. Adding third harmonic to your signal, what will happen? The signal shape, wave shape will change. Similarly, when you send a data also, you will not get a perfect square because noise gets added. So this is the real thing which you will have. Even though ideal says a perfect rectangle, you will not get a perfect rectangle. Delta exists, the change is not instantaneous. And again you have come across something called slew rate. What is slew rate is, it is the capability of change from one value to another, rate of change. So if you say on, at that instant itself you cannot come to on, you take some time. Our slew rates are very worst. So if I say start listening, it takes some time that your brain has to recognize and then start listening. So that we call it as slew rate. So see here, this is the instant where I told on, but it takes time to on this amount of time. So that we call it as slew rate. Similarly I say off, but you take this amount of time from the on state to go to off state. So that is what they say here. So that we call it as slew rate. Then signal noise is bad. It is caused by the variety of source. So in your room, if you have some power electronic based devices, all that will introduce noise, and that noise will try to disturb your signal. So now I am just showing a diagram, a real diagram. So this is a PIC18 series microcontroller. In PIC18 series microcontroller, when you want to go for RS-232 communication, the pin number 25, 26. 25 is transmit and 26 is receive. So MAX232 is a driver IC. Our syllabus also has driver, but that syllabus at the last we have driver. We will see at last what is driver. Now just you try to remember that in a PIC microcontroller, pin number 25 and 26, PIC18 series. PIC is nothing but microcontroller developed by Philips. In last semester you might have studied a microcontroller manufactured by Intel. At that time the IC number is AT89C51, where AT is Atmel. Okay, now similarly it is a PIC. So it is also a controller, only this difference is this fellow can be operated at an higher speed. So from pin number 25 you connect it to MAX232. So here it is MAX232 input, and it has a NOT gate, so it will send. So there is no reverse flow of anything. So it will allow only in one direction, and I will have some amplification circuit so that my signal is amplified. Okay, so that is nothing but a driver. Driver do two things. It will not allow in reverse direction flow, and as well as it will try to amplify the signal. So, okay, so with this we will stop today's class. So I repeat, so we have seen today about what is RS-232 is.